Coverkillernation, it's time for us to reconvene for another 2011 album review. You might be wondering what took me so long to do this one, because this is an album that was released on Tuesday, Celestial Lineage by the band Wolves in the Throne Room, who are an atmospheric black metal band that hail from Olympia, Washington, right here in the United States. The reason why it took me a couple of days is because this is actually a 3-play, along with Runner JMA and Count Blackroth. Once I have links for their reviews, they will be in the description box, and you can check out those reviews as well as the rest of this one. Now, Wolves in the Throne Room is a band that has created a lot of waves in the atmospheric black metal, or just American black metal department, now for the latter part of the 2000s, and have really picked up a lot of momentum. A lot of people really enjoy this band, and a lot of people say that they're a hipster black metal band, one of the kings of the hipster black metal movement. Right. Not sure what that means, but that sounds just ridiculous to me, so we're going to avoid that completely and just get that out of the way with my speaking of that just now. Now, what Wolves in the Throne Room are able to do probably better than most in this department is transforming their very long, they're very lengthy, they're extremely heavy on droning and atmospheric black metal tracks, which can eclipse the 10, 11, or 20-minute mark, and making them feel like they're much shorter songs. Now, the best metaphor that I can use for this is once again an Opeth metaphor with Black Rose Immortal. First time I ever heard Black Rose Immortal, I thought to myself, 20 minutes of Opeth, this is going to be ridiculously awesome, because I was at a period of time right there where I was extremely hot on the band, and I was learning all about their back catalog and experiencing it all for the first time, and thought, wow, this is going to be an experience. And whenever it was over, I thought to myself, was that really 20 minutes? That felt like 10. Well, it was 20 minutes, and the reason why is because the song is so packed full of good material, excellent songcraft, and fantastic songwriting that the time itself really started to go a lot faster, or feel like it was going a lot faster than it really was, because it was just such an engaging, ambitious, and fantastic track. Something that Wolves in the Throne Room has been able to do now over a period of a couple of albums, a couple of EPs, and a live EP as well. And with Celestial Lineage, this is something that's not altogether all that different or distant from what they were able to do. This is a very, very skillfully made album, and it's one in which the Olympia boys are able to use all of those tools that they had before. They still use a little bit of heightened ambience in some parts, but they're adding in a lot of dynamisy to this as well, and a lot of different little particulates to the atmospheres in which they're creating, such as using a feminine voice or a choir-sounding mechanism. And there's also 2 tracks on here that aren't songs at all, because really, whenever you think about it, 7 tracks for a Wolves in the Throne Room album, that's kind of heavy, actually, because for the most part, the albums that have preceded it have exceeded 4 or 5. They've never exceeded 4 or 5. However, there's 2 songs on here that are played off as like little interludes. They have little glimmer moments on it and kind of lead into the next track, almost as though just trying to progress a larger story further on. Now, that's something that actually makes this album flow a lot nicer, and it's not that Wolves in the Throne Room didn't have the capability or did this before. However, sometimes bridging the gap like this is something that aids black metal along a little bit. Another great example is 1349's latest album from last year, which used the Tunnel of Set interludes in order to bridge each and every single song together in a nice, neat little format. This is done a little bit more cleverly. There's some ambient noises as well as some singing in these little minute 30-second long tracks. However, the same principle really applies. I gotta say that for this only being 48 minutes long, it seems also very short for a Wolves in the Throne Room album. And whenever the 7th track finishes up, it's kind of an abrupt ending. So a listener or somebody who is just a huge fan of this band may actually feel a little bit robbed and wanting more. And in that particular regard, I can cite Burning Bridges by Arch Enemy as an album that really left me wanting more. And this is an album that bears a similar resemblance, considering I wanted more. That's probably the one thing that may cause this album to be maybe lamented a little bit by fans. However, I do have something to say about that, and that's like Burning Bridges by Arch Enemy. This is an album that's chock full of pristine material. If they would have continued onward, there's a possibility that some of the material afterward may not have been as good. Either that, or could we even say that a black metal band may have engaged in filler? Such a thing seems ludicrous, but it's a possibility. These are all risks that you have to put into mind. Just because it never really happens doesn't mean that it still, doesn't creep into your head and you think that maybe it could. So, all in all, this is a really solid release. I think this is one that's definitely worthy of any black metal fans' catalog. And I'm not talking just atmospheric black metal or just American black metal. I'm talking black metal in general. If you're from Europe, this is something you'll respect because you're very used to hearing this style in a lot of other bands. If you're somebody from America, USA, 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 oh my god, black metal USA. That sounded so queer, it's not even funny. But at any rate, this is an album that I'm going to have to give an 8.25 out of 10 on. This is one where I feel a little robbed because it wasn't as long as I was hoping, but that's something that I can get over. Not to mention, as I said previously, it means that the material that was represented was damn good. And secondly, I feel at some points that there is a little bit of a heavy-hearted use of the repetition, and there's a little bit of dynamisty that was seen a lot more in their early releases, such as Diadem of the 12 Stars, that you don't see as much here. But still, damn solid release, a release that we may see once again later on this year. In fact, I would count on it. Good on the guys from Wolves in the Throne Room, coverkillernation, saying, now that this review is done, go check out Runner JMA and Count Blagorov's review to find out their takes on this album, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.